shine the light for all to see. Chrisland University for intellectual radiance, moral standard and leadership. We uphold our values and principles to raise great minds and entrepreneurs. Chrisland University will always shine the light. A shining top that all can see. Chrisland University, deploying resources.
So I welcome you formally to this lecture. This distinguished professor, Professor Toyin Falola, has brought in personalities we can call timber and caliber in this country, including the Registrar of JAMB. We are always having representatives from JAMB. I want to thank you for that. So when I was informed that he was on this campus, I couldn't believe it, because it's one of the most important personalities in university education. Join me to appreciate him for coming. Thank you for honoring us.
To the choice of Prof. coming here today to deliver a lecture. I believe he believes in God now, and he wants to agree with me, at least for a change, that God had a hand in him being here today. And we're going to see that when you listen to him. I met him for the first time in 1986 when I presented my first ever paper at a major conference at the University of Lagos. I was then a staff of the State University, and he was the discussant. He was in charge of my panel at the time. He was a young man then, and I think he's still a young man now. He had a reputation at the time of a path-breaking scholar, a daring scholar. As early as 1985, he had published in the Journal of African History. The Journal of African History is the oldest and the best journal of African history anywhere in the world. And the paper he published, I want to go back and look at it, was the paper that challenged someone that I will not mention, an icon in the field. If you want to know, it's about Ibadan and strangers. A path-breaking paper written way back in 1885 by someone who was just about 4 or 5 or 6 years away from his PhD.
Professor Toyin Falola is the Jacob Francis Abeokuta Chair in the Humanities and University Distinguished Teaching Professor at the University of Texas at Austin. He is the author of numerous books and essays. He is the series editor of Rochester Studies in African History and the Diaspora, series editor of The Culture and Customs of Africa and by Greenwood Press, series editor of Classic Authors and Texts on Africa by African World Press, series editor of Carolina Studies on Africa and the Black World, series editor of African History and Modernity by Palgrave Macmillan, and series editor of African Identities by Cambridge University Press. Professor Toyin Falola has received various awards and honors at the University of Texas at Austin, including the Jean Holloway Award for Teaching Excellence, the Texas Teaching Award, the Chancellor's Council Outstanding Teaching Award, the Outstanding Graduate Teaching Award, and the Career Research Excellence Award.
Secular scholars also speak to issues of values. They do that a lot for centuries. And those secular philosophies, bear in mind, have become the turning point of history. So when you say the Renaissance, when when you say age of enlightenment, when you say the French Revolution, the Bolshevik Revolution, all what you are saying is that people are disappointed, just as Muhammad was disappointed in the 7th century by the politics they see, and they become upset and come up with philosophies that will change society. What I'm trying to do is to let you understand that this topic is so integral that without understanding it, applying it, whether as a family or as a people, as a nation, you are going nowhere. You can talk about political restructuring every day. If you don't restructure value, you have wasted your time. It's not going to work. Break the country into 36, break it into 40, you don't restructure the values, everything you are complaining about will be reproduced. And that is what history teaches us, that you cannot just be talking about restructuring politics without restructuring values. And today, the focus is on science, but many of you have been misled into thinking that science is neutral, technology is neutral. They are not neutral, they are embedded in values. And I will explain, especially to the students in this room, not only are they embedded in values, they are embedded in also context. Take small cars, small televisions, miniature phones invented in Japan. It is the space, the lack of space, the shortage of space that led to the creation of those small items that are functional. If they had space, they would not do small cars and small phone. And that is how a contest can inform science. In the last 30 years, scientific and technological advances have changed so rapidly in a way that the world has never seen anything like this before. And today, AI, robotic science, will change everything further. And in this rapidly changing world, if we also don't return to the issue of values, we are going to end up in a medium of crisis. But for now, what is important is telling young university students, young people who now benefit from these technological revolutions of the last 30 years. They stumble, they make two fundamental errors. First, they tend to assume that our continent has no science or technology. That's the way they talk. And hopefully, after this convocation lecture, they will stop talking like that. And they also will say, we simply borrow. All what we do is that we simply borrow. And after this lecture, I think they will not talk like that anymore. This is a continent created over 1 million years ago. By the time you confront Egypt, you're talking about 30,000 BC. Parts of northern Nigeria, area of Jos, 5,000 BC. This is not a new continent. This is one of the oldest continents in the world, the origin of human beings. You can't say a continent as old as this has no science, no technology. It will have become extinct. And I want to use two recent examples, Ebola and COVID, as illustrations. When both of them broke out, they said, you will all drop dead. That's what they said. When COVID broke out, they said in Africa, everybody will be dropping dead. If you are going to drop dead, you are not supposed to be alive today. Those who said that, they lost 1 million people in the US. We did not lose 1 million in the continent. They said it's because the data is not there. The data is there. The data is there. If you do micro studies, how many people died at a favor? And the main assumptions that were fundamentally wrong. They said people don't do vaccination in Africa. They cannot do social isolation. They don't want to quarantine. And I said, what is going on? I go to a stage and call the former president of South Africa, His Excellency Thabo Mbeki, and the chair of his institute. And I said, we have to do something. He said, okay, I flew to South Africa. I said, let me address the audience. When I was born in 1953, in this part of the world, I was born into a smallpox regime. That was the greatest crisis. But before I was born, a smallpox cult had developed. And the entire Southern African region, they had what we call virus cult. When you have a cult, it is your capacity to understand, to transform science into religion and into other things that is driving you. So in other words, we have been managing viruses historically in this continent. We're managing them. And they said, we don't quarantine. I said, who told you Africans don't know about quarantine? It is very well documented in terms of how we've been quarantining for centuries. We don't do social isolation. No, that's not correct. You, from this city of Abeokuta, other universities, how do you think they've been treating leprosy? A wide range of depression. How do you think they've been treating epilepsy? So the mastery of social isolation, the master of quarantine, they've mastered for centuries. It's an established science before you and I were born. And they knew about social isolation. They knew about quarantine. They knew about the treatment of a wide range of mental illnesses. And they said we don't do vaccination. We do incision. That's vaccination. It's a system of how you get blood, how you get medicine to your blood. That's all it's about. So that's the African don't know about vaccination. Who is that African that does not know about vaccination? We just don't call it vaccination. We give it another name. There are people in this room who have incisions on their bodies. That's what they are doing. And so, when you look at the settlement patterns all over Africa, we never settle in an environment that is not sustainable. A sustainable environment means that you know science. That's what it means. It knows you know medicine, otherwise you are going to die. It is how you now define the medicine that is different. Who is going to settle in an environment without plant medicine and herbal medicine? It's not going to work. And many of these things, they say we don't know about. How old are they in Africa? Abeokuta pioneered Western education in this part of the world, pioneer health. They are less than 200 years old. Many of what we now accept, Western, they are less than 200 years old in many places. The question you now ask is centuries before that, centuries and centuries before that, what have we been doing? What we have been doing is, we call it an epistemic violence, an epistemic suicide. We destroy ourselves by destroying that knowledge. That's what we have done which the knowledge that we have used to transform ourselves, we voluntarily destroy them.
I'm working towards it already. Ibi tèmi dì mú ní gbogbo sí lecturer wa ní tó jẹ́ pé bá a ṣe máa gbé àṣà wa, èdè wa, gbogbo nǹkan wa lárugẹ. Tá a dẹ̀ máa fi kọ́ àwọn ọmọ wa kódà wọ́n fi ṣe ìwà hù. So gbogbo àgbáyé á rí i pé àṣà àwọn aláwọ̀ dúdú kò burú, kò ń ṣe tí ò dáa. Wọ́n bẹ̀ sí bọ̀wọ̀ fún wa, wọ́n bẹ̀ sí rí wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Ọlọ́run, pé ẹ̀sìn wa ò ń ṣe ẹ̀sìn ìbọ̀rìṣà. Ẹ̀sìn òtítọ́ ni tá a rí Ọlọ́run ní gbogbo tó dá sí ayé yìí. Ibi tẹ́mi dì mú gan bẹ̀ yẹn o. Rí ní Chrisland schools, primary section. Táwọn ọmọ wa bá ti dé primary 1, a máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí kọ́ wọn ní the 3 main Nigerian languages. So a máa sọ fún àwọn parents wọn kó choose nínú the 3 main languages: Yorùbá, Hausa, Igbo. So èyí tó bá choose yẹn, a máa ń pín àwọn ọmọ yẹn sí 3 groups. Tó bá di ọ̀sán Wednesday, a máa ń ní culture afternoon. So àwọn ọmọ á lọ sí ibi tí àwọn parents wọn ti choose fún wọn. So àwọn ọmọ wa nígbà tí wọ́n bá fi máa jáde ní primary 6, by then wọ́n á ti gbọ́ at least díẹ̀díẹ̀ Yorùbá, Hausa or Igbo. So by the time they go to secondary, wọ́n ti mọ̀, wọ́n túbọ̀ fara mọ́, wọ́n dẹ̀ ti mọ̀ pé yes, I'm a bit knowledgeable in those 3 languages. Mo rí pé àwọn ọmọ wa tó jẹ́ Yorùbá, wọ́n máa fẹ́ kọ́ Igbo or Hausa. Àwọn tó ń kọ́ Yorùbá pọ̀ kù torí wọ́n ti mọ̀ yẹn nílé. So I man watch from all these things, and maybe one day I'll put everything to right.
We will shine the light for all to see. Chrisland University for intellectual radiance, moral standard and leadership. We uphold our values.
Well, I won't be here to just listening to this trans-history scholar Harrison's, who has just given us what I call an encyclopedic lecture. It has covered so much ground, temporally and spatially. I would like this lecture to be proverbial elephant that several blind people were supposed to identify. Tell us what you saw, what you heard. The person that touched the case said something different from what the person that touched the cost. So it's useless, I would say, to try and summarize this lecture. I'm sure that you all read it. It is said that if you want to hide something from Nigerians, keep it in a book. But Professor Falola can assure you that based on what was presented today, many of us will go and read or reread your lecture or read it in light of what I just presented today.
It's a great pleasure to have all of us in this assembly here today on the occasion of this epoch-making convocation lecture. We thank you once again for this beautiful lecture.
Distinguished participants, particularly members of the BOT and members of council, please. I was having problem with myself whether to talk or not to talk when by accident we invited me. I am one of those people who believe that university culture should not be sacrificed. I am one of those who believe that we are running our universities in Nigeria as if we are not part of a global culture. And that explains when I had the privilege of being the chairman committee of vice chancellors. We have to look back into the academic culture globally and see those ones that are relevant and will be sustained. And that was what led to our heavy declaration.
We're a value-based university. Value is important to us. Value has to do with character, behavior. And so we do not tolerate bad behavior. We promote values in our system, in our culture. Respect, obeying our rules and regulations, keeping a free and fair, safe environment. This is one place where we are guided by our mission and mission. There's ethics, promote moral standards. We even run a course on moral ethics and morals. So value again talks about quality. So we promote good quality. Today he's highlighted a lot on the African culture and values. The fact that science is related to value. So in Chrisland, we do not throw away our culture either. The students are always given an opportunity to showcase culture through their activities even in the chapel that they carry out that are not part of their core lectures. We do promote culture. We can have some days they dress in northern wear, so that has much to do with maybe their outfits, looks, dances, drama, play. Like this evening, we're going to have a night of drama and cultural display by Abeokuta Williams, and I told them if our students should be part of it. So part of the display. So I think they practice. So, but so that's one way we do it. But there are deep things they talked about that we're going to have to look into, especially with respect to research. The African food, the African medicinal plants, and things like that. Some of them we already have research. Some people have carried out research on some of these things. So we need to look at them. Can they be turned into products? And that will be interesting to us. Even though we're planning to do that soon, but this gives us more encouragement to do it. The Chancellor is totally sold out to African culture, and she's head over heels in love with African culture, and for the past few years
Actually, when CEO helped, partnered with us to organize a sustainability conference in 2019. It was an international conference. People came from different parts of Africa. And CEO partnered with Chrisland to run that conference here, this campus. And one of the speakers who is into African languages, Professor Bina, caught the attention of the Chancellor, and we've been discussing on how we can set up a Center for African Languages and Culture. Yeah. So he's giving us the MOU requirements, and we're also looking at it. And so I think since the founder is interested in culture, I'm sure Chrisland would really delve into that to see which area of it they can run.
The lecture was a very good one. The title is very, very good, and also the lecturer addressed the title and connected arts, humanity and science together, and also related that to technology. And much more importantly, he emphasized the need for us to lean and to focus on development of our indigenous products, and as against some of the things that the Western world actually produces, and that is to our advantage. And in totality, I think the lecturer did justice to the topic, and also it was well received by everybody that listened to the topic. The university is on the right track, ably led by the Vice Chancellor, Professor Tunde Kilani, and my duty here is just to complement our efforts and to support our vision, and also to assist her in the fulfillment and realization of the vision. Just as you have said, I think Chrisland University is on the right track, and they will just try as much as possible to tailor that vision in the right direction by allowing the students as well as the staff to key into the vision. And I know at the end of the day, the issue of African values, which Chrisland University have been inculcating into the students, we play more emphasis on that. We emphasize on that again and again, and I'm very sure the students will be able to key into that particular vision, so that at the end of the day there will be products when they leave the university and they are out as harbinger of a change, and be able to influence the world by embracing our culture very well.
In respect of value and culture, the Convocation lecturer dealt extensively on what we ought to know before now, or what we knew but we don't emphasize. Every system has its own value system, and once you don't have a background or a good grip of your value system, you should not be existing. For instance, your language is you. You cannot dream in a language you don't understand. And if you must dream in your indigenous language, it means you are thinking, your orientation is from that language. So the first area we have missed culture is by calling our language vernacular. The language anyone should understand first is your indigenous language, because that is where you think from. You think by understanding what you have in your proverbs. The proverbs are words of wisdom. They are the source of knowledge, and when you are about to do something, you think back into your proverbs that says in English, interpreted into English means, remember the son of whom you are. If you don't have it in your culture, you may not be able to think it out. Let's come to application in Chrisland University. Chrisland believes in training the total man, and it includes respect to elders, It includes moral upbringing. It also includes following rules and regulation as laid out. It is true we are releasing 91 stars. Those who passed are more than 91. There are those the university has sanctioned that they will not receive the university certificates because they were found wanting in character. They have character deficit in terms of having committed one offense or the other against the rules. So if you can't obey the rules you make, whose rule are you going to obey? So culture is a way of life, and anyone who must think straight must think within his own culture. If you borrow culture from anywhere, that culture is operating based on the structure provided in that environment. But when you bring it to Nigeria, you must be able to adapt it and see how it fits. And in my contribution to the lecture during my vote of thanks, I said something that what education we have received is all about is to guide us to think globally. But when it is time to act locally.
I come to recognize many people to arts, the culture, using the media, a lot of things to promote cultural heritage and cultural diversity. And why we bring out that reputation? Why are we trusted? And because we took technology and work with the scholars in the universities, including Toyin Falola. So I learned one or two things even from this lecture of today. Because if you know the answer, those are the decisions you have made that we are using. We are working together with the language and technology system. And today we talked about science, one part, and then our cultural values.
It's a day of love. I'm excited to be here. By the grace of God, I've been to quite many universities in Nigeria doing this, training people, even outside the country. But I must tell you, within this country, I have come to realize that Chrisland University has the best set of disciplined students. I'm not trying to excite you. I've been here, I think this is my second or third time, and I'm not of discipline. I've seen how cultured, how disciplined you are, and I'm so proud of you. I say everywhere I go that I've been to Chrisland. In fact, when I go to some private universities, I tell them they need to get here. Come on, put your hands together for yourself.
Ẹni tó fi fẹ́ ṣe wáyé kò sóhun tó lè yà wáyà lẹ́sùn ọ̀la ìgbàlà. Agbẹ́yọ̀dá ọ̀pọ̀ bá ti wá ẹni tó fi fẹ́ ṣe wáyé kò sóhun tó lè yà wáyà lẹ́sùn ọ̀la.
What do you call this person? In the house, maybe I am praising my God. And I said, I will never born a child that will not honor my God and my Savior. Right now. One time did not come to Moses. What will Moses do? You are dating your father. You are dating your father. You know see the mountain coming Moses. The mountain will not come to Moses. What will Moses do? Until I said, go. You must respect God. You must respect God. Only better.
Take it easy. You want money? You want your problem. He has been taken with your father. No, go. This is for him to get. We do.
I told you, if you want to go far in life, you need a feather to fly and go far in life. It's only God that can provide that feather to fly, go far in life. And that's what I'm telling you, that you cannot achieve anything great in this life without God in your life.
Every time, God! Every time, God! If you want to sleep, God! If you want to wake up, my daddy will say, God! If you want to drink water, my daddy will say, God! If you want to eat breakfast, my daddy will say, God! Afternoon, daddy will say, God! Evening, my daddy will say, God! Even if you want to play ball, my daddy will still say, God! Is everything God? I go. Is everything God?
They come.
My daddy.
You must believe in God always and begin to go to church to worship God with me. If you don't have God in your life, you cannot be successful.
Well, lie is a lie. Devil is a lie. Devil is a big lie, yo. Let me tell you. I will show you everything. Shebi, this is some of this. Shebi, this is some of this. My dad, everybody in this whole village knows that his daddy is the most successful farmer in this village. Farmer was right. Big jam like the size of my head. Very big jam. His daddy has plenty money, has plenty jam in Jehovah. In fact, his daddy has the largest farm in this whole village. Are they not religious? Tell them. I go to religious.
I know they don't love God, but I know they don't love God, but someone I'm okay.
That one,
that's the only example you have in this village.
No, I have plenty example. One, two, in this village, you can't Aremu Adedale. He's a successful cocoa farmer. Oh no! Very rich and very successful. Daddy, say Ali, which God is Aremu Adedale's son. This one. Don't let it go. Don't let it go.
Baba Onisu does not have God. Yet it's having money again.
Yes.
Adedale does not have God. He has big cocoa farm.
Yes.
By the way, I'm talking about those who want to go very, very far in life and cover the whole world. I'm not talking about village champions.
You see,
Germany. Me, I'm going to Germany. That's my plan. Yes, if I reach Germany like this, I'll be very successful. What are you talking? If Germany doesn't work, you come again. Germany, your life, don't see that shit again. Your life, it don't work. But something that I have planned. I have arranged everything. So my daddy to allow me to go to Germany. If I go to Germany like this, I'll be very, very, very successful. Germany. Spell Germany. Germany. Spell Yelaso. Spell Germany. This spelling is everything. It starts with a G. And I know that here is maybe the R. It don't matter. It's not that's in the do like this. I know it. You don't want to go. Do you know the spelling? So that learn. Yes.
Will you be happy?
I'll be happy.
My God has just bought me a brand new Okada.
Everybody say
Thank you. You see what happened? What happened is this. What happened is this. This Okada is special. It is Abadi. Yeah. I mean, you don't know Abadi. That is the owner that is helping me to handle the Okada. And the beautiful thing about this Okada that I want to tell you is that it will excite you. This Okada will take you from here to Germany. It will take you from here to Germany. So don't let anybody be asking you, say, when they want to go to Germany, no. You have to enter Berlin, you have to get a new visa, you have to get a new ticket. All those ones have been cancelled for you. Yes! Just enter Okada straight to where? Germany! Mama, Hey, you are acquiring. There are financial implications. So the two of you can quickly discuss. Quickly.
It's me. What the dance and dance? No, my dad, you see through that Okada. You take it to Germany.
Jacob, if your dad is lying, I cannot lie to you. You see this Okada? I took it to Germany last week. See, I just came back from Germany. Even if it doesn't pass tomorrow, I'm going back to Germany.
What is money that they used to pay? That book that they used to give them like that book. And the waiter something. Wait, that changed everything. Is it just kind of jam shit?
Jacob!
Oh yeah, how much?
You went by your daddy. He told me the other things I don't need again.
How much? I bring this.
Jacob, with this fight, Germany straight.
How much?
All you need is
My dad. It's like a time to 419 you.
You know 419 you. It's 25,000 to down. The last person that went down in the last week only paid the sum of 5,000 naira. So it's because of the petrol that has increased from 180 naira to 610 naira. That is why it's now 25,000 naira.
Mommy, our Chancellor, for staying back. I kept saying her aides wanted her to go. I said, we did this for Mommy. Let her stay for involving our students, and we thank our students who joined you. They will no longer be the same. Thank you for obeying. The chaplain also worked hard on this. I don't know where he is, chaplain. Thank you so much. All the staff present, lecturers, non-teaching mamas, aides, see these wonderful women and men. They are so tired, but they are all there. Thank you so much, wherever you are. I thank you all. And students, I can see you enjoying it. I'm happy you came out. I didn't miss this. So we've had a good time. And I'm happy and satisfied.